This is a short video on how to replace the clutch on a Toro Zmower 500 series. Take a look at the clutch. By now you have it in your hands, and you'll notice certain characteristics. One is there's a notch, two notches, and you need to know which one you're going to use. You're going to see electrical plugs, and you're going to see a pulley. Either it came with it, or you're going to use the original pulley that you have, and they're connected by a magnet. And that magnet looks like a disc brake almost. When you pull the clutch off, the pulley will come with it. So what you want to do is you want to squeeze it like a sandwich and make sure that they don't come apart, because if you do, then you have to get this magnet back up underneath this disc brake looking thing. Okay? I'm just telling you, it's kind of hard. It's not easy, but it can be done, so don't get frustrated if they come apart. Also, inside the pulley there's a key that runs down the shaft, and that's what keeps it in place on the shaft. So when you're trying to turn this nut on the top here with the two flat sides, the whole thing is going to turn. It's going to be almost impossible. So what you're going to want to do is put a pipe wrench on the shaft underneath the seat, and that won't hurt that shaft. Just put it on there, and then when you try to turn this nut, it'll come off. Okay, so now we'll get more into how to get this thing off of there. This is the way it's going to look on the mower, only mine is never in this position. It's upside down so that the notches are facing downward. And there's a nut in the center of it that you're going to want to try to take off. It's in two series. The first one is where you have to hold that flat nut still while you take the bolt out, and then the second part is where you have to actually get that flat nut off of there. The first thing you're going to want to do is get a drop light so that you can see what you're doing, and take these 6 bolts off. Now you probably could go through that center hole, but I recommend taking the 6 bolts off so that you can get to the clutch easily with a long wrench. Then there are 2 bolts on the side of the same cage. Go ahead and remove them. There's one on each side, and drop the whole cage down so you can get to the clutch easier. There are 2 series to take this clutch off. The first one is to get the bolt out of the center, but to do that you're going to have to hold that nut behind it still. So it has 2 flat sides. Get a pair of pliers, crank down on it, and a 9/16 is what I used for the bolt in the center. Go ahead and remove that. I used my foot to hold the pliers down, and then I loosened that bolt and went ahead and pulled it out. Next, go ahead and unplug the wires. They're pretty fragile. You can see where I've broke them in the past, and then I had to use some, splices to put them back together. So just be careful. But while you're doing this, take notice of where the pin comes through that notch and the position that your clutch is in. You're going to want to loosen the belts because it's the only way you're going to get the clutch off with that pulley. Find the tensioner and loosen it. Once again, take note of where the position of this nut is. Now you're going to want to take this nut off, so get your pliers out again. But the whole thing is going to spin, so what you're going to want to do is get a pipe wrench, lift the seat up, and go underneath, find the shaft, and put the pipe wrench on that shaft. Brace the pipe wrench up against the body of the mower and loosen the nut. Anytime you have a question on how to put something together or take it apart, always look up the parts tree. There'll be diagrams all over the internet. The parts tree will give you an idea of how hard it's going to be to do the repair or how long it's going to take. Plus you'll see if there are any seals, gaskets, or anything else that's going to need replacing. You'll want to have those ahead of time. Doing your own repairs will save you time and money, not to mention downtime for your equipment. I hope this video helped you. Happy mowing!